hey folks, in this episode we're going to be looking at the mortise in the body on the OM and the neck tenon on the neck, of course. And then, so yeah, I guess that's it. Let's get going. Okay, I got you close, got you zoomed in here a bit. I actually used a neck block that already had the mortise cut into it. The mortise, however, is a little bit smaller than the mortise that my template cuts. So I used it anyway, knowing that I could actually just widen the tenon out. The first two guitars I used a tenon that, or a neck block that did not have a mortise in it yet. So I want to get this out of here so that I can figure out where the actual sides of the mortise are. So I have my handy dandy little 1/4-inch spiral cutter. I think you can probably see it in there. Anyway, this cutter is great. I'm not sure, it might be a White Sides. I buy a lot of their product because I like their product a lot. I've already drilled, well, it already had the holes in it. So I just punch holes through here so I'd have an access point. All right, so now that I know where that's lined up at, I grab my template. So you've got the mortise section of the jig, and then you've got the tenon section of the jig. So just depending on how you put it on the neck or on the body will facilitate what you need to do. Now when you put this on the body, gotta back my camera up a little bit. Okay, so I drew myself a center line. I carried that up to the tape where I can see it because there's a gap in the binding here, and I already have this hole cut out, so it's hard to tell where the actual center line of the guitar is. I got a wrench here, so I can loosen this up. Now, if I didn't mention it yet, this is the Elevate. This is the Elevate Lutherie Mortise and Tenon for a bolt-on neck jig. They make one for a dovetail as well, and they also make one for a. They make this in 3/4 inch and in 1 inch. All right, so I have this block in here already. I'm wanting to center this to the center of the guitar, and it's wanting me to move over a good 1/16 of an inch. So what that's going to do is it's going to make me have a wider slot than 3/4 of an inch if I do that. I'm also double checking here on the front of the thing, and it definitely looks like it's centered up there. The Elevate, this comes with, I think it comes with, you might have to buy this extra, I'm not sure. Anyway, Bohannon actually made himself a piece out of acrylic, or he had it, I don't know if he made it himself, anyway. And he scored a center line on that, which would be actually pretty handy, but you can back this out of the slot a little bit and have it come right down onto your mark. You can see it. It won't back in that way far enough, but definitely that way. And then you can also put it in like this, and it will show you the center line, which I can't see because of the shadows. Whip out my trusty. It's actually telling me I want to go that way a little bit more. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, what I should do, or what I could do if I had the space to do it at this point, I could go ahead and fill the block in before I do this route, but I'm not going to have the room to do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and mount the jig. I'm going to do the cut I need to do, and open this up as much as I can, and then I will add a piece inside, and then I will come back and reset the jig up. And at that point, I'll just have to flush this side up with the jig, maybe even just a little over, or under rather. Make it a little tight, and then I'll just have to fit my tenon to the hole. All right, I think that probably sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Yep, and that looks really good. All right, so when you set the jig up on the guitar body, you really only need, you just make it square to the body, okay? Because this guitar wants to slide. I'm going to have to line this up again because I keep having to move it. I'm on the downhill slope of this body. That's why it wants to push more easily. If I had it higher, but it's harder to work on. I should say I probably shouldn't be doing this. I was done for the day. I went in, had dinner, sitting there for an hour or something. It's 8:30, past 8:30. Just got tired of sitting there, so I decided to come out and at least get started on this project / video. And that's maybe why I keep dropping stuff. Well, not the smartest time to come out to the shop after you've worked all day and then you come back out. So I'm obviously not completely with it here since I keep dropping stuff. I had to raise this guitar up because I couldn't get the handle down here above the vise. Okay, now that I've got a clamp on it, I want to double check my settings again. Looks pretty good. We are there. I think I'm just going to use another squeeze clamp. Those are my knuckles popping, in case you're wondering. Okay, and I will change the router a bit, and I will be right back. Looks like I'm probably taking about 1/4 of an inch in the cut. One last check. Yep. Okay, now you want to cut with the cutter cutting into the cut. That makes a lot of sense. But rotating into the cut, so the cutter is going this way. And you can go through the top of the guitar that way too. But you don't want to come out of the top of the guitar that way because you'll splinter stuff. But kind of, you can basically climb cut into it and it doesn't do as much damage. It's still going to do some damage. Okay, always double check, make sure your bearings are actually touching the template, especially one that you spent this much money on. So we're just going to drop down about another 1/4. Check and see where it looks like it's going to line up. Might need a flashlight. I do have a light in my router, but flashlight helps. So the next set is just down to the bottom. Alright, so I'm going to have to extend my bit a bit to make this happen. Did I actually just say extend my bit a bit? You missed a perfectly good chance to use the word skosh. Now we'll just go in and we'll take another lap around this thing, clean that up. My little bearing retainer is loose. Also double check that we have bearings in contact with the thing every time. Because every time you adjust it, things move, right? See what the setup out here looks like. Just had a couple clamps going in the sound hole. And then we have the front of that. Anyway, and it's going. So like I was saying, I'm going to need to add material to this side of the mortise. This side here. Because to get the thing centered, yeah, it wasn't centered. So it's a good reason to just use a block that doesn't have a mortise in it. So you can center it up, drill your holes, and everything's going to line up. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is pull this off of here, cut myself a little piece of material for that filler, and then let that glue set up overnight. Then I'll come back out here tomorrow and redo that and get started on the actual neck tenon itself. All right, we'll see you then. Bye. Okay, we're back in on the neck tenon. The last couple times I did this, I just started with the full heel without having any kind of cut, pre-cut in here. So I This time I just laid it out and then I just cut on my bandsaw and then some handsaw, because one way it fits on the bandsaw and the other way it hits the thing the wrong angle. Anyway, so I got that cleaned up. And so now we only have to take off a very little amount with the actual router. You can do it either way. You have to pre-cut the end of the heel where your mortise is at to the desired angle that you want. Okay, 1 to 2 degrees, usually somewhere in there. I'll show you the whole setup, how you put it on after I do the routing. So right now I'm going to want to come in as what we call climb cutting in. I want to come in over here and have the rotation of the bit going this way and take that edge off so I don't splinter it out. And then the same thing on the other side. I'll start back on this corner. It'll do the same thing. The rotation of the bit will nibble in there and give me a clean cut. So here we go. Okay, I can't do that all in one pass, even though I cut out, so I've taken very little out of this final pass, but the bearing has to be up high enough to ride on the actual template, and right now it's riding on the tenon itself, so got to do a little bit of backing out. That looks good. Now we should be able to go down to our final depth there. So here we go. That looks nice and clean. Now I will pick the camera up and I will show you how this is set up, and I'll basically unassemble it so you can see how that works. This is what it looks like from the top. Right, so your router's up here and it's just following this pattern here, and it can't go any farther out than that. It gives you something to write on here, out here with your router. All right, a little bit of a router mark right there. That'll sand out or file out. You got to have some fitting going on here anyway. All right, so then this just sits on top after you've set your bevel. This bracket right here went from being down here in this center hole for the mortise to being up here in this center hole. Once you've set your slide here, that sets the depth of your mortise, or your tenon. It also counteracts, or by setting that, it makes both of these things end up in the same place when you're mounted. These have one centering hole right here when you buy them. And that centers right in the middle of your truss rod slot. So when you're done with this, everything lines up with the middle of your truss rod slot. So hopefully your truss rod slot is in the middle of the neck. Then I had an extra hole bored in it right here. And this, they supply you with, I think, 2 pins. They supply you with the 1/4-inch pin and then the bevel pin. So if you don't have a 1/4-inch slot, some of the Stu-Mac rods are narrower. And I think they actually might provide the narrower one, but it comes with the bevel like that, the point, so it'll self-center into the slot. The 1/4-inch one I like just because it goes right down in to the slot. So once that's there, you just clamp it on. I guess that's it for this portion. So the guitar mortise and the neck tenon, I guess I should wait and see if they fit together. I don't know. Let's see what happens. The thing with the Moxon vise is that they're typically flat-jawed, and you use them as a woodworking vise. But if you build guitars, you just basically take that 15-foot radius out of each face, so that you're always clamping down on the edge of the guitar. You're never trying to flatten the guitar out with a flat clamp. So they go and they grab the edges of the guitar, and on the top side, it grabs the edge only, because that's a 30, 30-foot radius, 28 in this case. Anyway, so here we go. This could determine whether or not I even post this video. If it doesn't fit, yeah, see, so this is a little bit on the snug side, which is what you want. The time we do this a few times, oops, it will loosen up a little bit. Okay, so all right. So there it is. can see there's a little bit of a gap here. What we do is we take this neck, tenon, or the neck heel rather, and we undercut it. So I'll probably show you this when I actually set the neck, so this probably isn't necessary. But if you leave, 3/16 of an inch on the outside edge of the neck and on the bottom of the heel, this is going to shorten up. But then you take your chisel and you remove just a little bit of this material, just a little bit on either side. You don't have to create a huge valley, but you want it to drop in a bit, 1/16 of an inch or whatever, depending on how much you have to take off the heel to make it align. And then when you put it in here, the only area contacting the body is this outside edge all the way around. And that, when you start flossing it, pulling sandpaper through the joint to make it fit perfectly, then you're only dealing with a small area of the neck. And on this guitar, I am going to leave the neck more square like this. So I've seen that. I like the look a lot. I don't like them on dovetails because if somebody has glued that heel to the body, besides having the dovetail to steam loose or heat loose, then you end up having the cheeks on the neck glued to the body. And when it's wide like that, it makes it even worse. So that is the end of this particular portion. I'm very pleased with the results. Anyway, yeah, thank you all for having a look. Appreciate that. And yeah, got anything, any comments? I'd love to hear from you. Give me a thumbs up, give me a comment. All those sorts of things help the algorithm, and the dreaded algorithm. Honestly, I don't even know why I'm saying this thing, because I don't care. The channel's going to do what the channel's going to do. I'm not doing this because it's a money maker for sure. All right, folks, take care.